to the point. We the people, we are the government. When you speak truth, you need free speech in order to get the truth out. Difference of opinion should be valued. Period. Today we're going to do a segment called The Panel. So I got three people with us today. Don Julio. How's it going, Don Julio?
Very good, thanks.
He wants to keep his privacy. I totally respect that, and we're going to continue with that. And we also got Doc Holliday on the phone. How's it going, Doc Holliday?
Just say when. Okay, buddy. That's doing good.
And then we got also O&O Dubs from previous.
I'm the only normal person here, and you can see me. So I appreciate being on here to steady out all the crazies.
Anyways, so today we have the privilege of talking about Trump.
President Donald J. Trump.
Exactly. Thank you. Been a lot of controversy on Trump, and I thought it was more than right to talk about him. I mean, a lot of people either love him to death or just absolutely hate him to death. What do you guys think about Trump? Just off the top of your head, Don Julio.
He's one of the most successful presidents that we've had, most conservative too. Even though he's not a conservative, he's been one of the most conservative presidents we've ever had.
How about you, O&O Dubs?
I would look at it as, what I appreciate is that most of the things that people dislike about him are because he said on the campaign trail, this is what I'm going to do, and then he's actually going and doing it, which is frustrating a lot of individuals because he said he was going to do certain things. He's doing those certain things. In the beginning, he was working really hard to convince the stoic, traditional status quo Republicans in the Senate and the House to come along, continue to do these things. These are the things that are important. But a lot of the things that have happened have been because of sheer personality and will of personality to be able to push things through. And that comes from the business background. So you bring a raw and real business background into the political dance of politeness and the Potomac two-step, where Congress does one dance, the White House does another dance, and every once in a while they get together. Here you have Trump coming in and saying, this is what I'm going to do. You're going to follow through because I'm the chief executive. That's the personality he comes through with. And then he does it.
Doc Holliday, what is your perspective on?
I mean, personally, I put this out there. I actually didn't vote for Trump. I didn't actually vote at all during the final election.
Shame on you.
With that whole thing. I just sat back and watched what happened. And I wasn't sure about Trump, to be honest, because I've heard the sob story before about people who want to make promises. And I'm absolutely sold and impressed because he has, in fact, done the best he can to try to keep his promises. I see improvements inside of the country as a whole. And I'm impressed. He's got my vote for the next time around.
Doc Holliday, how do we get you to participate, even though you might have doubt? Because that's going to help the listeners talking today that when they have that kind of doubt, how do you overcome it?
With that kind of doubt, overcome it, I mean, part of it is really actually looking at both sides in all honesty and truth, which the left's opinion is out there at all times. You can't avoid it. It's all over the media. It's there. And unfortunately, you've really got to seek out the other side when it comes to the right or even the middle line where Trump is concerned. And I mean, I'm hoping that's what we can accomplish, even a small percentage, because right now it's just everything about the left's opinion on him and their swayed opinions that they're pushing are all that we are getting in our faces 24/7 on news media coverage. And it sways people. The media is a legitimate outlet for actually people's viewing and where they gather their opinions. Whether or not it's legitimized by fact seems to be irrelevant to today's viewer. They're more about what's there, what can I listen to? I like that. And so that's what they go with. And we need to be able to step back and actually analyze and propose over what is truth and what is just opinion.
I would agree.
But she's hot?
No, I'm going to avoid that one. Where I initially didn't want to vote for Trump when they all first came out. Don and Julio, I believe you didn't either. When it came down to Hillary or Trump, I mean, you have someone that we had no clue about. Knowing Trump, we just know he's been on TV and he makes a crap ton of money, right or wrong, you know. And then you have someone who she maybe have people on the payroll killing people for her, and she's part of sex trade issues, or really good friends with, and her husband going 12 times to this island for, having
Sex.
coitus with little children. It's just
It's actually an undetermined number because it says 12, but I've actually seen reports that say somewhere in the 20s and below 12. So at this point, giving a solid number isn't a fair assessment, but I think we can all agree he's definitely been there on multiple occasions.
we'll have to say too, real quick. People are like, well, Trump, he was friends with Epstein. Epstein tried to do one of his numbers with some little girl at one of Trump's facilities, and Trump personally kicked him out and said, hell no. So just to throw that out there, because that comes up. What has Trump successfully done?
We got elected.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
So we're going to start off with Don Julio. All right. What you got for us?
Well, I'm going to start with what he didn't accomplish. That's a much shorter list.
Perfect.
It is. So I'm gonna do that because that was the original thought process anyway. But so he was not able to successfully repeal and replace Obamacare. Now he did remove the individual mandate, and that'll take place for this year's taxes. But that was the signature accomplishment he was hoping to accomplish, and then McCain squashed that just before he died. But so that's the thing that kind of sticks in my brain as something he wasn't able to accomplish, but he sure tried.
Okay.
So the accomplishments, though, there's just a ton of things. One of the first things he did was he removed regulation that Obama had put into place. His minions,
Stacks of regulation.
oh, just tons of it. And so that was a really good thing that he freed up, and he freed up the engine, so to speak, in the economy, which then took off once he got the tax cuts enacted. So that was another thing that really helped. Along with those tax cuts, they repatriated billions of dollars from overseas, which it just made no sense for these companies to bring back because the tax rates were so high. It was just stupid to bring the money back at that point. But because he reduced the tax level, it became an incentive to bring the dollars back into the country, and then be able to, improve the economy. So that's one thing. The jobs is another one with the tax cuts. That we've got record unemployment for the African Americans, the Hispanics, basically for everybody. We've got, as long as we've been keeping stats, we've never had unemployment so low in some of these communities. So it's a wonderful thing.
Just before you go into your next point, and you're bringing up really great ones, when it comes to unemployment, especially with those who are minorities, bring up how, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, the Asian community. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're doing very well. And I think because it's what starts off at home when it comes to what's important. The things that the values that you have at your house, and that's what's going to push your younger generations in a good or bad path. Or knocking up 6 women and you're not helping out any of the children. You have no job. You're collecting from the government, and you could care less. Don't expect the world to say, we need to help you. So you're the minority that needs help. Because then you have the Asian communities where they're really tight fit. The parents are staying together. They're working hard. They're sticking through school, going through college. Not that college is the magical thing or anything like that. I'm just making a point that they're staying true to their values and making sure that their children are as well. Before we go on to the next point, does anyone else want to elaborate on that?
Well, it just proves that hundreds of years or maybe thousands of years of personal examples of intact families, at-home dads, engaged dads, families that are together promoting family values creates offspring that do the same thing, and it's a net positive for the country.
So go ahead. What was your next point?
So yeah, the next thing on my list was the conservative judges. As of 8/1, he had appointed 146 judges federal judges throughout the country.
So does that mean he kind of evened it out? Is it what we're looking at, or?
He has been the most successful president, to my knowledge, in appointing judges and getting them placed. He's got like twice the amount at this time in Obama's presidency that he had placed. So now he didn't have the Senate. He had the Senate on his side. So I guess I can't say that, because the first 2 years he did have the Senate on his side. So anyway, so that's a very positive thing, especially with the two at the Supreme Court level. He also renegotiated NAFTA, which, if we could get that passed, that would help the trade imbalance. I don't know the specifics of the deal, but Trump was constantly berating the NAFTA agreement as being favorable to both the Canadians and the Mexicans, and he wanted a deal that was more favorable to the U.S.
Yeah.
He cut one. I don't know the specifics of it, but he cut it. If we could just get it passed, we could enact it immediately, and it would be beneficial to this country, just like the rest of the stuff he's been doing.
So real quick, I know you got a point. I want to ask you guys real quick if you hold that.
Sure.
And Doc Holliday, feel free to jump in anytime too, buddy.
The mute button is so...
Absolutely. I'm just listening and biding my time, man.
Yeah, no, bro. I lost my point.
So to fill in the dead air, there are currently 4 vacancies on the U.S. Court of Appeals. There's 97 district court vacancies currently, 2 on international trade courts, and then 9 on U.S. courts of federal claims. Out of the total 870 judgeships that are authorized under Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution, there's only about 103 vacancies left.
It's crazy how Trump is trying to do the best thing for American, or let me rephrase, trying to do the best thing for United States citizens. Why do you guys think that we have a 50% of our country that says, no, we're doing really well, so let's just throw that away and do our best to help the world? Because I've been thinking about it a lot, that
I mean,
it's interesting how you got people that we want to bring people and help, but like, okay, so if let's just say we're the best country in the world. I'm going to say that we are, but
We are.
okay. Then does that mean that everybody should just leave all their countries and just come here? Is that what we're trying to say? Because everyone is going to be hurting other than us. So why does that mean that everyone should be able to just come in freely at any given time? Like that frustrates me. That's not even logical. Sorry, go ahead, Doc.
It doesn't. I mean, that's actually, it's going to push into some of my topic that I'm going to bring up later, but I'll touch briefly for you with that. The big thing is, even with legal immigration, with the amount of impoverished peoples in the world, if we took on, it was something like 5%. If we took on 5% of the world's impoverished people, keeping in mind that number will almost completely replenish itself every year. Almost completely replenish itself every year with just births and children coming of age. If we took on just 5% every year, our ability to budget and finance with the welfare systems that we put in place, the tax breaks that we give legal immigrants coming into the U.S., we would literally put ourselves back into debt higher than we were in the middle of the Obama administration by 2 or 3-fold inside of 15 years.
Oof.
We can't handle it. It's simply, we can't handle it. People try to say, well, we have the space. Well, you can't, on one hand, say the U.S. has the land, because we do have land. We have a ton of land that's unused. Go look at a satellite imagery of lights at night. The U.S. has a bunch of black land out there. But you can't, in one hand, like the left's trying to do, and they put on one hand, well, we have the space, we have the ability to take them in, we should.
I don't want everything to be brick and mortar.
Say that we can't. Yeah, no. But on the other hand, the left at the same time tries to say, well, we have to respect the land. We can't keep encroaching on the open territory and ruining nature and devastating the planet, which you can't. I'm not going to deny that the more we deforest the world, the more damage we do. It's there. It's statistical numbers. But you can't on both hands say, well, we're going to bring more people in because we have the room, and then say you can't encroach on these forests, and you can't cut down this land, and you can't build out more places for people to live. Well, I mean, you're fighting yourself on your own opinion, because that's the left's opinion.
Well, the left always bites their own butt.
They do. They absolutely do. But, I mean, we can't handle it. We physically can't bring it in because in 15 years we could damn near double what we have in this country with people. I mean, we are a good percentage of the world's population, but at the rate the world grows, which in the past 2 decades is just astounding numbers. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head right now, but the numbers of what the world's population has grown in the past couple decades is absolutely ridiculous. So the world is growing faster than ever outside of this country and inside of this country, and we cannot take on that kind of number. Then you're talking about a livelihood loss. You're going to turn us into a third world country trying to support the third world.
Mm-hmm.
Programs that reach out into the third world, that we give tax breaks, that we use money to push and help this country and help that country and help that country. And Trump's actually worked at trying to get rid of some of these handouts that we give to other nations so that he can look inward towards the U.S. citizens, the people here that need it, the veterans here that are living on the street because they come home from war, don't know how to cope, don't have actual job skills besides combat, and then they're stuck on the streets and they're not taken care of.
Julio, you had something you want to say too?
Yeah, I was just going to say there's a difference between bringing in welfare-dependent, uneducated people that need a handout, I mean, at every level, medical, housing, all the stuff, education, all that good stuff. There's a difference between bringing those types of people in mass and bringing in people that can actually support themselves, get a job, and actually contribute to society, because that's a whole different level of people, and our country can handle more of those types of people that actually contribute versus those that take.
That's a good point.
But isn't that the idea of discrimination? So if we only bring in individuals who are financially successful, do we not lose out on the individuals who, although they don't have the education or the background, they could work themselves into being very supportive and beneficial to the country? So how do you find that balance?
If they can.
Well, I mean, what you're pushing in there is, again, like, you're pushing into the world of what if with that. Like, well, what if? What if? And then that's the world that the left loves to live in. They love the world of what if. What if this and what if that? And the problem is with the world of what if is that only 1% of the time does what if come true on a positive level.
There was a time where our system mandated you to come. If you wanted to come into this country, you had to be sponsored. You had to prove that you could take care of yourself, and you weren't eligible for any of the programs, any of them. That was how the system used to work.
Yeah.
Well, it still does.
When it worked.
It does not. We bring them in, we let them loose in the country, and they're eligible for every program we have.
That's the illegals.
Yep.
You're in my mind.
I'm talking about people coming into this country. We bring in 1 million legally, but we bring in God knows how many illegally. What is it, 100,000 a month?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Did you find any of the information you're looking for?
Well, what I found was the total is Trump has 146 nominees confirmed, and that is pretty cool. And he's got another 103 which are pending. So that's 35 district, 22 waiting for floor votes, that kind of stuff. So if Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell continues to do his job, I see no reason why Trump can't have 90% of the judiciary filled with conservative judges before his first term is done.
And I'll say that's a beautiful thing. Anyways,
Agreed.
So, Don, Julio, what else did you got for us?
Well, a really big one is the energy change. The whole view of the government towards energy. We were shutting down coal mines, and we were head over heels for the renewable energy sources.
Mm-hmm.
You know, spending all kinds of money on companies that were going out of business and weren't functioning. Well, we have an energy revolution going on in the country right now with fracking, getting oil, natural gas, coal. We are a net exporter of oil now, and we are no longer subject to what is that company? The
OPEC.
OPEC. Thank you. The OPEC group of people that just love to crush us whenever possible, use our money, and then take advantage of us. We are quickly getting to a point where they are irrelevant, and so that's a huge deal. And then I got a bunch, but I'll just end with this one. He pulled us out of that Iran nuclear deal, which was a good thing. It was just funneling cash to the mullahs of Iran, and who were doing nothing but sponsoring terror all over the world. So it was just a wonderful.
Wow, that was a lot of great content. I just want you guys to know this is actually segment 1 of 3. So the next 2 will be coming out soon. Make sure you guys are hashtagging the IM6 panel. And guys, thank you so much for watching all this. And I hope you guys leave some comments. I'm very curious to hear what you guys are, or at least to read what you guys are thinking. Thank you guys for being a part of this movement. And this is the intellectual movement. Let's make sure that we're going out and we're being proactive and teaching people the truth. We live in a great country. We are very blessed. God bless.